NFL executives and coaches voted on the top 10 players at each position, and the Chicago Bears had 3 players ranked in the top 10 of their positions on the offensive side of the ball, and Caleb Williams, Darnell Wright, and Colston Loveland all ranking in the top 10 of their respective positions. What does this mean for the Chicago Bears and the expectation for the offense coming into the season? We're going to talk a little bit about that, plus some doubt thrown towards Caleb Williams as well, and why this is a huge season for Kyler Gordon to get his shit together. We're going to talk about all that plus more right after this. What's going on, Bears fans? Welcome to another episode of Chicago Bears Central, your number one spot for everything Chicago Bears related. I'm the host there, Haize, but more importantly, you guys can follow the channel at Chi Bears Central on every social media platform we happen to be on. With that said, let's go ahead and get into this content for today, y'all. And Darnell Wright. We're going to start off with him. Darnell Wright has turned himself into one of the best young tackles in the game of football. And it's good that he's starting to be realized for that and recognized for that. Like when the Bears drafted Darnell Wright, it was at a time where a lot of people wanted to see the Chicago Bears go defensive line, and it ended up working out. And the combination of both Javon Dexter at the defensive tackle and Darnell Wright were greater than if we just had drafted Jalen Carter like a lot of people wanted the Chicago Bears to do with that pick. I think at this point now you have to establish and look at what he's done over the course of the season. Since coming in to the team in 2023, he's turned himself into an all-pro, right? He's turned himself into just one of the best tackles in the game of football. And in these votes that are being done by NFL executives and coaching, Darnell Wright was ranked one of the best tackles in the game of football. This is the blurb that they wrote about Darnell Wright. As Wright has solidified himself as one of the best right tackles in the league, it's no surprise to see him ranked amongst ESPN's top list of offensive tackles. Wright landed at number 6 on the list, and he's the highest pure right tackle among the ratings. Power and brute strength. He can do whatever he wants on the football field. You don't see a consistently high motor. That's the next step for him getting that up. So, even in voting in that, they're saying, hey, we want to see an even higher motor for Darnell Wright in regards to it. We look at the tackles that ranked ahead of Darnell Wright. You have Penei Sewell with Detroit. You had Trent Williams with San Francisco, Tampa Bay's Tristan Wirfs, and then also Philadelphia's Jordan Mailata and Laramie Tunsil as well. I almost completely ruined his name. Laramie Tunsil as well ranked all above him. And so that's good. The highest individual ranking for him was number 2. So somebody voted him as high as number 2, which just shows that the respect that Darnell Wright has garnered around the league with what he's done. He's entering the final year of his rookie contract, and we already expect, like, Darnell Wright and Caleb Williams are both about to get paid. That's just what's about to happen. They are both about to get paid. And so when you look at this season as well, this is another opportunity for Darnell Wright to continue pushing that. I do think that's probably why, a couple of weeks ago we heard that from Courtney Cronin that the Bears are probably going to try to get this extension done early into training camp. But between training camp starting and, of course, the regular season starting, that's probably when they're going to try to get this done. And that's it. Darnell Wright is going to become one of the highest paid tackles in the game of football. There's just no ifs, ands, or buts about it. He's going to be one of the highest paid tackles in the game of football. And you look at how he is in the running game, how he is in the pass game. Like, Darnell Wright's just a complete right tackle in this league. And it's an important position. Also the highest pure right tackle that was voted on that list. And this just goes to show, again, how much development matters, right? Darnell Wright has been here since when the Chicago Bears all offensive line all ended up on their backs on plays. Many people will remember that, right? Bobby made a huge deal about that, rightfully so, when it happened. But Darnell Wright has found a way to develop through all of that. And then now you got him with Dan Roushar last year. He improved the offensive line overall, and you got to see how he continued to make steps and strides. Darnell has stood out in just about every type of offensive line that we had, from the terrible to the okay to the great, right? And so they're like locking in a cornerstone. That's what Darnell Wright has really shown himself to be now. He is an elite cornerstone with the Chicago Bears franchise on that offensive line. And he's going to be paid as such, as he should. And, for as long as the offensive line was an element of the Chicago Bears, for what we were this season, You just continue to see that development from him is going to be great. It's going to be huge. I'm glad to see that he's in the Chicago Bears uniform, and we get to see this kid because he's not done yet. I don't think Darnell Wright is capped out yet. I don't think he's hit the cap on who he's going to be as a player. He's going to continue to refine. He's going to continue to add those little technique things that we see players add as their careers goes on, and that's going to be great, man. That's going to be great. It's going to be amazing to see from that, and we're going to continue to see this from Darnell Wright, so love to see that one. Next up, Colston Loveland. Colston Loveland ranked at number 7 on his list among all tight ends, and this is after a monster rookie year, and we've talked about how Colston Loveland's stats already put him as a top 10 tight end in the game of football, and you love to see that in regards to. Now, what they wrote about Colston Loveland is this. So it's not a surprise that Loveland made ESPN's ranking at top tight end in the league. Loveland landed at number 7 on the list, and it's clear that he can make up significant ground in 2026. He's unbelievable. A smooth mover with toughness. Loveland could be the Bears' top receiver next year. Expect to see more 2 or 3 tight end sets from Chicago this year, which is all what we've talked about. If y'all here with the Chicago Bears, Chicago Bears Central, you know I've told you guys a lot that do not be surprised if Colston Loveland ends up leading the Chicago Bears in receiving this year and a lot of 2 and 3 tight end sets. When we look at the 6 tight ends that were ranked above Colston Loveland, you have Las Vegas' Brock Bowers, Arizona's Trey McBride, San Francisco's George Kittle, Detroit's Sam Laporta, Indianapolis's Tyler Warren, and Green Bay's Tucker Kraft, all ranked ahead of him in regards to it. But also, hey, so we can talk about this as well, Cole Kmet also landed right outside the top 10 with an honorable mention as well when they said this about him. He's still a quality player who's friendly for a young quarterback, good in the run game. They need to find ways to get Kmet and Loveland on the field together. So, but focusing this on Colston Loveland, I'm going to say this. Everybody sees the star power in Colston Loveland. I don't know anybody who is even a rational, halfway smart football fan that I've talked to that has not talked about how good Colston Loveland can be for this team. He already led the Chicago Bears in receptions and receiving yards. And that's coming in a season where at the start of it, he wasn't in the game plan at the start of the season at all. He was not in that game plan, and he still was able to lead the Chicago Bears in those areas. The playoff production that Colston Loveland gave as well continues to show even more so what he can be at the next level. And then you talk about the 12 and 13-man personnel. I told you guys, that's going to be kind of a death lineup in a way for the Chicago Bears, because what that frees up the Chicago Bears to do to put Colston Loveland in that slot, right? Then on top of that, what you can still do with your run game in that personnel as well. Like the way that defenses are going to have to play the Chicago Bears, and this is even like, say Xavier Thomas works out as a speed option there too. Like it's so much opportunity there for this Bears offense to thrive. We're going to get in that overall, but like Colston Loveland is a big part of that. Colston Loveland has already turned himself into one of the backbones of what this Bears offense can be. And with Loveland again and health, everything takes in health, right? Like we just want to be clear in that one. Health is always the great divider for all these type of conversations. So you got to have health overall for your team. But there's a lot of people that still doubt the Chicago Bears offense, and part of that is because of the comeback nature of the Bears offense last year. And this is a season where, I've said it, Ben Johnson has said it, Caleb Williams has said it. Now everybody, like, you want to see this team not have to live off the comebacks anymore. And if this team plays a more consistent 4 quarters of football, then you're going to see this offense take off. And the questions about this team is you're going to start getting more minuscule and middle school, and people are just going to be picking at hairs to really kind of pick apart this team. And that's the place that you want to be in. This team has so much schematic versatility that I just don't know if we've ever seen between the play caller and Ben Johnson and between the skill players that we have with the offensive line that we have as well. I just don't know if the Bears have ever had this much offense with this much optionality. Like what we are able to do, the different looks, the way that we're able to match up against all these teams, throws out so many different things for this offense to be able to jumpstart next season with. It's going to be fun to watch. So, Colston Loveland is, I think the thing overall to take from this is Colston Loveland is just a good tight end. He may be one of the best tight ends in football already, and we could be talking about him being the best tight end in the game of football when this is all said and done. And he's going to be one of the faces of the Chicago Bears franchise as well, to go along with Caleb Williams. That's what Colston Loveland can be. And Cole Kmet, as much as he was also mentioned in this one as an honorable mention as well, we already know how Cole Kmet's blocking matters in Ben Johnson's game, his versatility in being able to use him in the passing game as well. Sam Roush is going to play a part into that also. This isn't about stats, right? And so much and understandably, because it's the tangible thing, so much when you get to football conversations, everybody just wants to make it about stats. But for some players, if you are able to look at their role and what they're asked to do, it doesn't just come down to stats. And that's the impact that Cole Kmet and Sam Roush, to a lesser degree as well, needs to have for this Bears team this season. It's not just about stats for those guys. It's about what they free up and how the baseline of what they do well is able to make the Chicago Bears more creative, be able to make Ben Johnson get a little bit more risky with some play calls in some areas. And in the red zone, I'm telling y'all right now, we can have one of the best red zone offense in the league based off our quarterback and tight ends and offensive line alone. Like we can literally have that. Now, that's based off potential. I'm not saying that we're going to march into the season and just be one of the best red zone offenses in the league, but we have the potential to do that because of the makeup and the quality of the players that we have on this team, and we're going to see what happens there. And then lastly, Caleb Williams. Caleb Williams got voted as one of the top 10 quarterbacks in the league by the same committee. Again, the committee is a mix between NFL executives and coaches, and he found himself ranked 10th on this list. His highest individual ranking, the highest anybody ranked him, was number 6 on their respective lists. And one GM said this about Caleb Williams. He's the most dynamic of the group. He's got the arm talent and the overall athleticism suited for today's game. Another NFL personnel guy said he's a closer. End of games, he has shown that. But there's also some things. One of the NFL's defensive coaches that voted in this list said this. Wildly erratic. Doesn't always take the layups and still needs to mature in the position. He has some of those what is he doing plays, but he also makes plays only he and Mahomes can make. He can throw from any angle deceptively fast and when forced to scramble, and he's got the it factor in clutch time. Yes, there are things Williams needs to work on, such as his accuracy after completing just 58% of his passes last season. We knew that was going to pop up in this list, and playing more consistently throughout games. But the upside potential is there for him to be elite. Entering year 2 in Ben Johnson's offense, Williams can put it all together and show the league he is elite. And that's what this season is really about, right? For Caleb Williams. It's about the first year as a rookie, you showed your potential, especially amongst all the turmoil that was there for the Chicago Bears and changing head coaches, changing offensive coordinators, all that was there, right? Then in year 2, you have a more stable coaching situation. You have your offensive play caller in Ben Johnson, the guy that's focused on your development, and we saw him take from the potential that we saw in year 1 to some realization on those talents. Now it's about the refinement. It's about doing the things that truly elite quarterbacks do. I understand where a lot of people say or try to get to the completion percentage being kind of an overstated thing, but I do think when you look at all the elite quarterbacks that truly make that leap to being elite, they all have, I think the lowest is like a 62% completion percentage. So it still does matter, right? And I get it that we can get caught up in, well, he threw for almost 4,000 yards. That's great. There are a lot of quarterbacks that can throw for a lot of yards, but we're not just talking about how many yards or the stats he can put up. I get it. We want to see Caleb Williams break every single record that he can break, and we all want him to have that, right? Because it's an easy, again, tangible thing to show the importance and the growth that he's had as a quarterback. But there are some things that just are the standard. If you want to be a Super Bowl winning quarterback, you're not going to do that with a 58% completion percentage. That's the reality of it. But the clutch gene for Caleb Williams is real, right? 7 comeback game-winning drives. That speaks loudly because, and again, as one of the coaches said, he makes throws that only him and Mahomes can make. That's the reality of it. That is not ifs, ands, or buts. That's not hyperbole. That is the reality of what Caleb Williams is as a quarterback. But now it's about taking the potential and all those things, putting it all together. Him and Ben Johnson putting it all together. And it is about Caleb Williams taking the gimmies. It is about his wide receivers not dropping as many as the passes. It's the middle ground between the two. You need both of those things. Some people try to make it about, well, it's just the wide receivers and his drops. Nope, that's a false. Some people try to make it about just Caleb Williams and the missing the gimmies or the overthrows, the underthrows. No, it's not. It's a mix between the two. And if the meat's in the middle, right, between Caleb Williams taking those gimmies a little bit more, us not dropping passes as much as a receiving core, then that's where you're going to see Caleb Williams get that next step as a quarterback. And that's what it is. The next step for Caleb isn't about proving that you can read defenses. We've seen that he can do that. It's not proving that you can do comebacks. We've seen that you can do that. It's about the refinement, right? It's about the efficiency. And that is a quarterback who can play elite, right? Who can, sometimes it is about taking what the defenses are giving me, then you break them mentally, and then you still make the plays down the field. Those are the things, the operation, the running of the offense, the day-to-days, the ins and outs, the plays. That's what's important for Caleb Williams this year. And it is, right? Taking more of those layups are going to be good. Being more on schedule with your throws is going to do good in regards to that one. So I don't think that the wildly erratic thing, saying wildly erratic may be a bit of a hyperbolic statement there, but there are some erratic things. And, Ben Johnson's also had to learn to live with that. There are going to be some things. Ben Johnson is such a fundamentally sound guy. He wants everything to be fundamentally sound. I think that we saw throughout last season that Ben Johnson had to realize, that's not always going to be Caleb. Yes, you want to push him towards efficiency, but you also need to give him room to be him. And some of that means that it may not be the most technically sound play that you have, but he's going to make that motherfucker because he's going to push through with talent. But efficiency sometimes can take you where raw talent can't. And that's the next step of this for Caleb Williams is we know that you have all of the raw talent in the world, but turn some of that raw talent in consistent efficiency, and you still have that talent, that we still have that arm strength. You still have the ability to make throws off your back legs that only you and Mahomes can make. All those things are still going to be there for him. But if he adds that layer of efficiency to him, you're talking about one of the most complete quarterbacks in the game of football. And that's the step. That's the next truly transitional phase that Caleb Williams can go into. And if he does that, transcendent is the word that I meant there. The transcendent phase for him. And if he gets to that, man, it's going to be nasty. It's going to be great to see. And that's where you start getting into this place about this, man. And I'm very excited about what Caleb Williams can show for the Chicago Bears this year. But the last topic that I want to get into before we get up out of here is Kyler Gordon, right? Kyler Gordon is a hot button topic for the Chicago Bears and a lot of Bears fans because, and while I do think, like my brother Darius kind of overstated how injured he is, right? He made a bad comparison to an often injured former Bear, but the reality still comes down to it is that you got to keep your ass on the football field. That's it. No ifs, ands, or buts. Your ass needs to be on the football field. You can have all the talent in the world. I used this quote one time. It was a remix of a quote from Making the Band, is that you can either make this team or you cannot make this team. Right now, Kyler Gordon's going to be on the team one way or another. The talent isn't an issue for Kyler. Availability could be, right? This guy is one of the best slot corners in the league when he's healthy. But a soft tissue injury lingering into the season is concerning. Now, we have heard some things that, maybe it's the Bears are just being precautious with him in the mini camps and OTAs to where it's like, well, we don't even need to play him here. Let's let that soft tissue injury completely heal up, and then he'll be ready to go once training camp starts, once the preseason starts, and he'll be ready to go. And that's the hope. That's the goal. I mean, here's the thing. Would it be the end of the world if the Bears held out Kyler Gordon in all of preseason because they just want to make sure to eliminate any of that chance of the soft tissue injury continuing into the regular season? No, I wouldn't be mad at that. But again, as long as he's healthy, once the lights are on in the real games and he's consistently on the football field, I would not be mad at that at all. If that ends up being what they do here, then the Bears are just playing it safe, great. As long as his ass is on the football field once the season starts, no harm, no foul, we can wash our hands with it, right? And so because of the nature of soft tissue injuries, it just, of course, raises those questions. And so, with that, and I say if because, again, I don't know, if Kyler Gordon's soft tissue injury does carry on into the regular season, it's good that the Chicago Bears have built some depth between Terrell Smith, Malik Muhammad, Josh Blackwell, Cam Lewis. There are guys that are going to be able to compete for that slot position, and that's the reality of it there. But I do think that 2026 could be a big defining season for Kyler Gordon. Now, we know that he already signed an extension. He got paid, those type of things. But, you could start seeing the Bears start preparing for a life without Kyler Gordon if he can't stay healthy. We've seen it happen to players before. You can be great on the football field when you're on the football field. But if you're not on the football field often enough for that impact to matter, that's where you start getting into some of that stuff. And, again, I'm saying all the what-ifs right now. But Kyler Gordon missed a huge amount of games last year. Before last season, the most games that he ever missed in a season was 4, right? And you can live with that. But I think what you're now going into is a cap hit of $12.9 million this year, 13.3 the 2 seasons after that. You need to start seeing him on the field for sure. Now, the last 2 years of his deal, and I don't think this is going to happen, but if the Bears were to be put in a situation where they feel like they need to waive him, he turns into $5 million in dead money in 2027 and $2.5 million in dead money in 2028. But the hope is we don't even get to that. Like I said, there's a realistic world in this with Kyler Gordon that the Bears are just being safe with him because he did have a soft tissue injury, and they figure We don't need Kyler Gordon to be in and out of all these OTAs. We know what he can bring on the field as long as he's learning the playbook, the plays, and stuff like that. Let's give him all the time in the world to rest up. Let's not even chance it. And that's a realistic place that they can be in with Kyler Gordon. But we're going to see. It's going to be all things are going to be come out in the wash here soon as we're getting into training camp, we're getting into preseason. The regular season is right around the corner. I cannot wait for Chicago Bears football because I'm just ready to see my team take the field, shut up a lot of these losers that have been talking about us, and then let's see what happens after that, right? But that's going to do it for today's episode of Chicago Bears Central. This is where the conversation gets real, though. I want to hear from you guys in the comment section down below, hearing that Darnell Wright, Caleb Williams, and Colston Loveland all ranked in the top 10 of their position. How excited does that make you for what this offense could be in 2026? And also, with Kyler Gordon, how concerned are you with him and the soft tissue injury that he's faced so far in the offseason? Are you worried that he's not going to be ready by the start of the season? Let me know that down below. But other than that, make sure you guys like the video, subscribe to the channel, hit that notification bell so you never miss an episode or an upload. You can follow us at Chi Bears Central on every social media platform. You can send us any feedback, questions, comments, concerns, chicagobearscentral@gmail.com. And lastly, if you want to leave a text message and our voicemail for the mailbag, the number to do so, 773-242-9336. We are the #1 spot for everything Chicago Bears related, but that is thanks to you, lovely and beautiful people. And like I like to end every episode on, Chi-Town up, Bear down. Love you guys. Peace, y'all.
This has been a presentation of the Break Media.